Hey there, I'm Gavin, and welcome to my video entitled An Entire Video About Country Nowadays by Brice. So, fun fact about me is that I love to talk about the things I hate almost as much as I like to talk about the things that I love. And Country Nowadays is one of my most hated songs I've ever heard. But why? Well, I'll tell you why. But first things first, we need to get all of the possible context out of the way so we can spend the rest of the video talking about the song in depth. Country Nowadays is a song by Brice that was infamously debuted at the All-American halftime show made by Turning Point USA. Okay, more context is needed. The All-American Halftime Show was an event arranged by Turning Point USA, like I said, in response to the Super Bowl 60 halftime show performer being an artist by the name of Bad Bunny. Why were they mad? Well, because Bad Bunny spoke Spanish, and he looked like a person from outside of America, even though he wasn't. Specifically, a Latin American person. And he looked like he was a country of Latin American descent. And Donald Trump, who is the president right now, and he was the president at the time, was targeting those kinds of people in his mass deportations of people while causing chaos in cities that were allegedly running rampant with these types of people. And speaking of Bad Bunny, he was an outspoken critic of this thing that was happening in places like Minneapolis, Minnesota. When he won Album of the Year at the Grammys about a week before he went to go to the Super Bowl, he clearly said in English, "Ice out," wanting the Border Patrol out of the cities and killing innocent people. So, the Turning Point USA people, to bring it all the way back, saw this, and also how he wore a dress on a couple occasions, thought he was anti-America. Whether or not you agree with them is neither here nor there. But the fact is, they believed these things and believed that the things he said and did were anti-American. And also, they had never heard of him as an artist. So this all led up to Turning Point USA to create an event directly to rival the Super Bowl 60 halftime show being done at the actual Super Bowl, to be played in direct tandem with the Super Bowl halftime show, with headlining the halftime show would be Kid Rock, with other people like Brantley Gilbert, Gabby Barrett, and most importantly for our conversation today, Brice. So a little bit of context about Brice. He is behind a lot of my favorite songs of my childhood, so he holds a pretty special place in my heart. Well, maybe not holds a special place, more like held a special place in my heart. Because just like Jason Aldean, but even worse than what he got from me, he lost all of the goodwill I had to him when he sang this song. This song was from his now still upcoming album, Sunriser. And then it was then untitled, but it is now known as Country Nowadays. So yeah, this song is bad, but I feel like it was an avoidable situation for Brice. This song was being played in front of an estimated 6.1 million people at peak viewership, which is nothing to sneeze at, but it is obviously nothing compared to the estimated 135 million people watching Bad Bunny. However, it was still a lot of people, and there were probably some critics watching as part of that 6.1 million people. So, like, yeah, it was like a pretty big, important event, especially one that was rivaling the actual Super Bowl 60 halftime show and of the Super Bowl. And to go into more depth about how avoidable this was, all he needed to do was not sing this song. Like, he was going to release it either way, whether it was at the Super Bowl halftime show or not at the Super Bowl halftime show. But the reason why everybody knows this song and why everybody makes fun of this song, even people who like country music like me, the reason why everybody knows this song is because he decided to play it at the Super Bowl halftime show that was directly rivaling Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show. The reason why is everything, the entire reason why he did this was because of Bad Bunny. Like, not really because of Bad Bunny, but the entire reason why people know this song and people are were memeing it to oblivion back in February and March is because that he did it at the dang Super Bowl halftime show. It was a very avoidable situation for Lee Brice, because if he would have released it normally, like as a single, sure, it probably would have gotten some flack, some things that were happening, some flack about it. Just like how Jason Aldean released "Try That in a Small Town" and he got a lot of flack for it. But this is on a scale of tenfold, because country nowadays was supposed to be this nationally televised song that was on the Super Bowl halftime show, and he knew that people were watching him. So, yeah, this entire situation could have been avoided, but he decided to sing this song. And after he gets done singing the previous song in the set, he starts talking. He says, well, Charlie, he gave people a microphone to speak what was on their minds. Pause. He is speaking here about Charlie Kirk, who passed away after a fatal gunshot to the neck in a Utah college during one of his debates. So I'm not going to really get into the weeds about Charlie Kirk, because that's an entire situation that I shouldn't really talk about here. But to make a long story short, he made Turning Point USA. So this is his organization's halftime show. Obviously, he was dead at the time of this Super Bowl halftime show, but this was a thing that was supposed to A, tribute Charlie Kirk, and B, go against Bad Bunny. So Lee Brice is talking about Charlie Kirk. And also, he gave people microphones so he could argue with the speech from their minds. When they said what was on their minds, he argued with them. So no, he didn't give people a platform to speak their minds. He gave himself a platform to speak his own mind. But go on. So he says, this is what's on my mind. And then he starts playing his guitar. He says, and I quote, I just want to catch my fish, drive my truck, and drink my beer. Stop. Let's break this now. So people criticize country music for being literally the exact same song with the exact same chords every single time. People say this is literally what people say even before Lee Brice made this song and put it out on live television. People say country music only talks about catching fish, driving trucks, and drinking beer. And in the constant effort and fight to get country music considered as the storytelling medium that it truly is, we must deviate from the constant repetition of these same keywords that we say. Case in point, Bo Burnham's song, Pandering. Um, Bo Burnham's song, Pandering, is a slightly important piece of this puzzle. Because after this song was first debuted at the Super Bowl halftime show, people that did not like the song compared this song to Pandering by Bo Burnham. And they were pretty right. Because Bo Burnham's song has this line in it. I say the word truck, they jizz in their overalls. I feel like the song Country Nowadays is exactly what the song Pandering is talking about. The person, what it's talking about is that person is the country music artist is lying about being a Southern person that is just living life in the South and doing hard work. And they're like just like us. To prove my point, here's a couple more lines from that song. I write songs about riding tractors from the comfort of a private jet. And he also says, I write songs for the people who do jobs in the towns that I never moved to. So yeah, we weren't off to a good start in the slightest. The song is indicative of the country music problem right now. So then he says, not wake up and to see all this stuff I don't want to hear. Like the same kind of gun I hunt with just killed another man, when the only thing mine ever shot was a deer from my deer stand. So he's talking here again about Charlie Kirk, and he's also talking about another one of the core tenets of country music, hunting. So there's two strikes in this line where he's talking about guns and how guns are cool, kind of. And he's also talking about hunting. So that's two strikes, and also he's not right about Charlie Kirk. And then he continues and he says, I just want to cut my grass, feed my dog, wear my boots. Now, I will now address the elephant in the room for Lee Brice. Nobody is stopping him from doing these things. Like, that is why people don't like this song. Now, there's more reasons that we will get to with literally the next line. But the main reason why people don't like this song is because he can do all these things. He's just saying he just wants to do them. But surely it can't get worse, right? Well, the next line does make it worse. He says, after the wear my boots, he says, I don't want to, or not turn the TV on and sit and watch the evening news. And be told if I tell my own daughter that little boys ain't little girls, I'll be up the creek in hot water in this cancel your ass world. Stop right there. Here, he's talking about cancel culture, which I talked about in my video. This video is about autism, so watch that video if you want more of an in-depth deep dive about cancel culture. But cancel culture will cancel people for things that they do within their own house. But in this situation, it's weird to me, kind of. I just thought about this. It's kind of weird to me how people that say I want to do these things and I don't want to be held accountable for the things I do within my own house, then turn around and say say we shouldn't give gay people rights because of how they live within their own house. So they want to have it both ways because they don't like one of the things, but they want to do the other thing. It's pretty hypocritical for sure. And then we get to the chorus, which I'll only cover once. I won't cover it when he sings it again, but I'll cover it this one time. So, the chorus goes like, "It ain't easy being country in this country nowadays. The directions the fingers point and everything goes up in flames. Saying I'm some right-wing devil because I was down south Jesus raised. It ain't easy being country in this country nowadays." Okay, so this is pretty weird because in this country nowadays, it is ran by a majority Republican leadership, and it has been it has been for the last year. I'm pretty sure, as of the time that Lee Brice was writing this song in February of 2026, Donald Trump and the people that were in his cabinet and in the House of Representatives and in the Senate were in power for the last one entire year, since January of 2025. It was February of 2026. So it had been 13 months of Donald Trump running the country. And he is complaining about the country is not good to Republicans when it is more majority Republican led. So he also says it's hard believing in Jesus because people say, I don't really know anybody who says like people that are Christians are bad people because they're Christians. I don't know a single person who says that. I have seen people that have said Christians are bad because they do X, Y, and Z. I am a Christian and I don't do that X, Y, and Z that they talk about, and I am a good guy. I'm a pretty good Christian, I would say. So the people that Lee Brice is complaining about here don't get him for being Christian. Don't get him for being down south of Jesus raised. They get him for his beliefs that sometimes come with being down south of Jesus raised. Not all the time, but sometimes. He's just here trying to be the victim. And I hate when people like this try and be the victim when they aren't. PMOs, okay? But he continues. After the chorus, he says, "I just want to cut my grass, watch my game, say my prayers." And that cut my grass thing, he already said it once. So that's another strike against him. Again, I'll reiterate this. These are things that you can do with zero objectives. This is just complaining for complaining's sake. He's just complaining because he wants to be relatable. Again, pandering. So then he goes, "Not get a picture of a flag that's up in flames while people cheer. Stop. The burning of the American flag has been a point of contention ever since 2020-ish, and probably even before that, when George Floyd was murdered, and the Black Lives Matter protests began, and part of those protests were burning American flags. However, this is a completely thing that is protected by this country's free speech rights. Also, just like any other protest, there was a reason why they burned that American flag. People were burning it not because they hated the country. No. It's because they felt like the flag did not represent what the country stood for anymore. That's why they did what they did. So yeah, the point in this song and also in Jason Aldean's "Try That in a Small Town" are moot because they are talking. A lot of Republicans love talking about how they can say whatever they want, and they don't like cancel culture because they try and cancel people for saying what they want because free speech is a thing in this country. But they also say that these people shouldn't burn American flags because they don't like it. But that's also free speech, another hypocritical point of these arguments. But continuing to talk about the flag, Lee Brice says, "Oh, the same one my granddaddy fought for, being stomped on like it's trash. And I'm a downright hateful monster if I back the blue and badge." It's crazy to me how this song was unveiled to the world in February of 2026, like I've said many times. It had been 6 years after George Floyd's murder by police officers. And Lee Brice and a lot of other people are still talking about it. And the reason why we don't like the police sometimes is because they racially profile their citizens as criminals. So yeah, that's why this is you're a downright hateful monster if you black the blue and badge. And then he hits us with another chorus. But before he can say the last nowadays and go into a ending, he interrupts himself. He says, "Because I have my morals and a small town point of view, you assume that you don't like me. It means I don't like you too." Let's talk about this. So he's saying he has morals and a small town point of view. And this is where I personally have a problem with the song and him as a person. The small town point of view is inherently detrimental to one's life. If you only care about what is happening to you and the things closest to being around you, it makes you pretty ignorant and not privy to the rest of the country and the world's problems. Now, I'm not saying you should care about John C. Calhoun's left toenail, but I'm saying that you should care about what is happening to people that have less than you do. The little guy, because people claim that they do care about the little guy. Just this little guy and not the other little guy, the littler little guy. That was hard to say. So what country music artists do when they're pandering is saying, "I'm just like you, I'm just like you, I'm a hick, I care about the little guy in the country." But there are littler people out there. So they don't care about the little guy. You know what I'm saying? Because all they do to those little guys is demonize them for being different. So yes, Lee Brice, I don't like you. And I couldn't care less if you don't like me too. So, with one last repetition of the song's thesis, "It ain't easy being country in this country nowadays," the song ends. So, talking about the song in full, it is full of victimization of the self. It's full of false statements, false equivalents, and bad takes, just in general. And it also has got a small pinch of transphobia there for good measure. All told, this song is about 3 minutes long, and I basically hate every second of its cursed runtime. But to me, it's a lot like the Miranda Sings apology song, because it's so bad, it's funny. And that's why people are memeing it. Me and my friends still joke about it to this day, and it has been, the 5th month of the year? It's been like 3 months since that song came out. So So like and we cannot stop saying every day we're always like, I just want to catch my fish, because it's so bad of a song. Like taking away everything that Lee Brice says in this song that is not good and he should not be said. Taking away all of that and just treating it like a normal country song. Like taking away, just take the first 3 lines. I just want to catch my fish, drive my truck, and drink my beer. Like, that's what? Like I said earlier in this video, it is just that is part of the blatant pandering that a lot of country music artists undergo when they try and, make a song. So yeah, that's why this song is just not good. I mean, just not good, and that's why people joke about it, and I hope you can see why I decided to make an entire video about it. But that's all. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.